About 18 months ago, when I first started playing guitar again after a 15 to 16 year gap, I went out and bought this beautiful blue Fender 52 custom shop Reissue Telecaster. It's a bit of a mouthful and it's a hell of a guitar. It was just a bit too much guitar for me. It required some skills and some knowledge and some experience that I didn't have yet. And so a few weeks ago when I made a video about the order in which I like my guitars, you know, and sort of led up to my number one, this Telecaster came pretty low down the list. But I said, if I could get to a point where I could play this and love it, then I feel like I've improved a lot over the last 18 months. And that's what this video is about, getting to know Blue. That's what this Telecaster's called, for obvious reasons. For the last 4 or 5 days, I have woken up with an urgent feeling to walk in here and play, and I've barely done anything else, and it's all been about this telly. So in this video I want to explore with you guys what it is that this telly can do, and in order to do that I'm going through a really cool little pedal board I think that I've put together. We started there with the Magma57, which I'll probably go into more detail with later, but what I wanted from this guitar, what I want from this guitar is just an amazing rock machine. I think there's something so cool about taking a very early style of guitar and then just making it sound absolutely filthy and, you know, full of personality and character. So the pedal board I put together today is hot as far as I'm concerned. And this video is really an exploration of what this guitar can do, how flexible it is, what I want to do with it. So, you know, sort of settle in for the next 20-30 minutes and maybe get yourself a drink. We're gonna go through the pedal board, that will be the journey, and in each section I'll sort of discuss a different factor about this guitar. So let's head back over to the pedal board. I'm gonna plug into the first pedal on the board and let's hear some sounds and have a chat about it. So I've had this Octaland pedal for a long time and I never really use it because I wasn't really sure what I wanted it for. I just like Kingtone pedals, so I bought it, you know, as you do. Well, I plugged it in a couple of days ago with this and now I know what I want it for. I want it for this sort of, it's got an unmistakable tone, and yet this is not with a Strat, which is what you might expect, and therefore I think it's a little bit more unique, or gives me something else that I can play with and take advantage of. And pickups in this particular Telecaster are not too high output, and so they're always they don't go too compressed, right? And so the articulation of the notes and everything stays intact, even when you set the drive on a pedal like the Octaland really high up. Now, I wanted this sort of glassy, almost sounds like the speaker is broken sort of sound, and I find it really inspirational to play with. You know, it gives just enough bite, it has just enough give and compression, but not too much. And so this guitar, I think I'd be doing it a disservice if I oversaturated anything that I play with it. So, you know, I have the amp set in its lowest output setting, that is the black face, the lowest gain structure setting, and I don't normally use that, but with this guitar, oh, it feels great because it's a little bit scooped, so I've got the mids then turned up a bit to sort of counteract that a little bit, but the output is lower, and again, it just helps to stop from getting too compressed, which I don't want. I want all the notes to sound out. I want the neck pickup to sound a little bit Strat-like, that really warm tone. I want the bridge to sound like a Telecaster bridge pickup should, you know. I don't want it all to meld into one. And for the first time, I've managed to use this pedal in a way that I really enjoy, and you're going to see throughout this pedal board how excited I am, really, that this pedal board, I want to take a snapshot of it, that if I ever play live with this guitar, this is the pedal board I want. You know, it's taken me 2 or 3 days of tinkering to get to that point and figure out between all my pedals what goes best with this Blue Telly. Well, the Octaland, yeah, it's a really useful pedal, not just for Strats, not just for that octave fuzz sound. Then I kicked in at the end a sort of Leslie emulator, simulator type pedal, which we'll get to at the end. I just love the way it interacts with the Octaland. It's really, really great. Okay, we've got another fuzz now, and I actually want to make a video about this fuzz titled, Is This Now My Favourite Fuzz? The Austin Pride by Dan Driver has been my favourite fuzz for a long time since I bought it. Well, I finally got round to really giving this Myriad Fuzz by Vemuram, this is the Josh Smith fuzz pedal, a go, and it's way better than I thought it was. The only problem with it is it's very noisy. Let's hear it a bit and we'll talk about that. That Myriad Fuzz really might be my ultimate favourite fuzz pedal, but I'm going to do a video about that and compare it to the Austin Pride a little bit. They both have their own, you know, fantastic features and sounds to them, but it's just a lot of fun. And with this guitar, which is what this video is about, of course, it just never gets too much. The guitar, as I said before, it's not so high output, doesn't over compress, and you feel like every note sounds. So you really got to be careful because it's articulate and mistakes do show up. It took me quite a few takes. For me, I'm not a very fast guitar player, so that was quite a fast riff, which I've stolen from a Marcus King song and not played too well, but you know, I've given it a go. But yeah, this guitar just brings out the sort of more, you know, rocky but vintage sound that I love. And I can honestly, I've sat here for hours playing this thing this week, and with fuzzes, it's great. It really just doesn't overdo it, and that's really brilliant. It's a real eye opener for me. Okay, let's get into some overdrives. The next one is a favourite on this channel, the Shanks. Of course, I had to use a Shanks with this. Nashville sound, Telecaster. Who wouldn't want that? So the Shanks is often at the center of my pedal board. You know, in my opinion, it's got one of the sweetest overdrive tones. It's got that little touch of sustain. It's quite a flat sound, and so I think it allows you to express yourself quite a lot. It's not too much of anything, really. It's got those chewy edges. It's just a fantastic, fantastic pedal that I'm lucky to have. And with this guitar, it just seems to work really well. It still allows the guitar to sound like itself. You know, it doesn't sound too processed or anything like that. And so, really, this guitar and that pedal are a match made in heaven, you know. This blue with the tortoise shell, it feels like it belongs probably in Nashville. And with this sound, if I could, I would just hope to create really, really wonderful sounds from it. You know, over this last few days that I've played this guitar, the baseball bat neck, which was bugging me before, has actually become something I'm really enjoying, largely because it's stopping me from gripping too hard. I've always gripped the necks of guitars way too hard, which stops me from being fluid. And I'm learning with this guitar that if I grip it, it's going to hurt and it's too big and I can't do much. So I'm trying to play more gently. And the Shanks, with that touch of sustain, allows me to get from place to place, and it carries the sound really well. So yeah, really enjoying that. And it just, you know, on any frequency and with any pickup in any position, it just seems to do its thing. And for that, I'm really, really thankful about that. You know, and these pickups can be a bit warm on the neck and a bit bright on the bridge. And you can use the tone control with the Shanks really, really well. And it just keeps everything, I imagine, playing live in the mix. You know, it's probably built for that. Just has the right frequencies to sound great. Okay, so now we're going to play that Magma57 by Origin Effects, which is based on a Magnatone amp, and it's got this chorus effect in there, which I'm using today, which I really, really, really enjoy actually with this. It just gives it that more character and colour. Now, this being based on an amp, it's not so much of an overdrive pedal. You're not going to get huge amounts of drive out of it, but it can go from really open sounding to being basically, it sounds like an amp that's about to fall apart because it's been pushed too hard, which I love. I love all those sort of, you know, sort of ratty, gnarly sounds, and it's inspirational really to play. And I haven't used it much over the last year because I wasn't really sure what to use it for, and I plugged it in yesterday. I had an inkling, you know, a thought that it might work really well with this guitar, and it has. It's really opened me up to some new things. So let's hear that. So I just find that tone really interesting, and with this guitar, again, it works really well. The Telecaster, unlike the Les Paul, doesn't get too wallowy in the low end, and unlike the Strat, it doesn't have such a distinctively obvious tone that, you know, that is a Strat. The Tele is a bit more of a chameleon, and I find it's really inspiring me actually to find my own sounds, and with this pedal, that really, really helps. Okay, so now we're going on to the Kingtone Blues Power. Now, I've matched this up with this rotary speaker simulator, the Ventilator 2, and I think it's a really fun sound. And then halfway through, I'm going to turn off the Ventilator and just play the Blues Power. What's great with the Kingtone Blues Power is it really sounds like a very warm, tubey, overdriven amp, and it doesn't feel like you've put a pedal on when you're playing it, and it's, in that way, it's an absolute joy. And with this guitar, with those rounded sounds in the neck position and those edgy sounds in the bridge, this pedal helps to sort of give more juice to the neck, and it helps to round off a little bit of the bridge, and really it's a great thing to have on your pedal board, especially with a guitar like this that can be so warm and also so bright. You know, you need to be able to lift a bit of that darker tone. You need to be able to bring down a little bit of that edginess, and I think that's what I'd struggled with for so long. This guitar, you know, having quite a low output, it needs a lot of oomph behind it for me to personally enjoy playing it, and that's probably why, now that I've discovered that I'm really finding a lot of inspiration from it. I just want to finish by showing you what it does sound like with the amp. So as you can hear there, you know, the amp wasn't doing a lot, but it just has a really pretty tone and melds well with that Telecaster, so all these pedals can sort of come to the forefront. So, you know, this video was really just about me sort of getting in touch with this guitar, and I said before that if I could do that, then I'd feel like I've accomplished something, because, you know, this guitar is probably the hardest one to play that I've got, and it's also, in a way, the most akin to the style that I want to have. So it's, for me, really an important part of my sort of tone journey is to be able to play this guitar the way that I have today. You know, I'm always very quick to point out when I've done something badly, and you know, it's taken me a long time to feel at least a little bit happy playing this guitar, and I sort of feel like what I've played today is the sort of sound, if I was creating music and gigging and touring and everything like that, and with my own sound, like it's my name over the band, this is the sort of music I'd want to play. Sort of rock and roll-y, British blues, edgy, a little bit late 60s Hendrixy, you know, all of that sort of stuff melded into one, and this guitar just allows me to do that. And on top of that, I think it looks so cool, you know, so I love it. I'd love to get up on stage with this guitar along with my gold top P90. So, you know, I'm a very fickle person, clearly, because I literally made a video 2 weeks ago about my favourite guitars, and this guitar was near the bottom of the list, and right now I'd put it right up at the top with my gold Les Paul with the P90s, and I think my 59 Reissue Les Paul has just dropped into second place at the moment, because I'm preferring the ergonomics of this one and the lighter weight and ergonomics of the John Case 54 P90 Gold Top. And the tones that I get are more distinctively something that I want to create, as opposed to that 59 Les Paul sound, which I love, don't get me wrong, absolutely love it. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, just a little trip down into my brain, and you've got to heard some really cool pedals, I think. So let me know what you think down in the comments. If you'd seen that video I made about what my favourite guitars are, do you think this should be right up at the top with those other guitars? And yeah, thanks for watching.